The sun blazed mercilessly over the barren plains, turning the earth into a cracked, lifeless crust. In the distance, dust devils twisted and danced, their shapes flickering against the shimmering haze. For centuries, this desolate land had guarded a secret, a legend whispered through generations, a warning of cities destroyed by fire from the heavens, Sodom and Gomorrah. To most, these names meant only ruin and sin, a story of judgment so fierce it echoed through time. But what if these ancient tales, so often dismissed as myth, were rooted in a reality more terrifying than anyone imagined? This story doesn't begin in the shadowy world of biblical legend, but in the relentless heat and dust of modern archaeology. Here, we meet Dr. Stephen Kalinza, man whose curiosity burned as fiercely as the desert sun. For years, scholars had searched for Sodom along the southern edge of the Dead Sea, but every expedition ended in disappointment. The trail seemed cold, the mystery unsolved. But Dr. Collins was not one to accept dead ends. He pored over ancient texts, not just the Bible, but every scrap of historical and geographical record he could find. Patterns began to emerge, pointing not south, but northeast, to a place called el-Hammam. This massive mound, or tell, lay in the Jordan Valley, its slopes heavy with the remains of forgotten civilizations. Few had given it much thought, yet Collins saw something others had missed. Skepticism was everywhere. El-Hammam had been excavated before, but no one had found evidence of the cataclysm described in Scripture. Still, Collins pressed on, driven by a mix of scholarly rigor and quiet conviction. His team began to dig, layer by layer, each stroke of the shovel peeling back centuries of silence. What they found was astonishing. Beneath the dust, they uncovered the bones of a great city one that had thrived in the Bronze Age, larger and more powerful than any other in the region. Its walls were immense, 5 meters thick and 10 meters high in places, a fortress built to last. Streets wound through neighborhoods of houses, workshops, and public buildings. This was no backwater village. It was a bustling metropolis, alive with trade, culture, and ambition. People had lived and loved here, their lives unfolding under the same sun that now beat down on the archaeologists. But as the team dug deeper, the story took a darker turn. They found signs of sudden, violent destruction, evidence that something unimaginable had happened here. Pottery shards, once ordinary, had been transformed into glass-like fragments by a heat so intense it defied explanation. Mudbricks, the very fabric of the city, were fused together, their structure changed forever, as if the city had been thrust into a giant furnace. This was no ordinary fire. It was something far more devastating. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that bring history's greatest mysteries to life. One evening, as the sun slipped toward the horizon, a young archaeologist sifting through a layer of ash let out a startled gasp. In her hand was a tiny, perfect bead, no bigger than a pea. Its surface sparkled with microscopic metallic flecks. Later analysis revealed something extraordinary. These were tiny diamonds, formed under pressures and temperatures far beyond anything a normal fire could produce. The team was stunned. What could have caused such a phenomenon? The discoveries kept coming. Scattered among the ruins were fragments of human bone, burned and shattered by a heat so fierce it seemed the very air had caught fire. Life in the city had ended in an instant. The destruction was total. Then, the team uncovered a strange, dark layer that blanketed the entire Cytia layer filled with iridium, a rare element more common in meteorites than on Earth. The implications were staggering. Could the destruction of Sodom have been caused by something from beyond our world? The final breakthrough came in laboratories far from the desert. Scientists analyzed the glassy pottery, the fused bricks, and the mysterious spherules. The results were shocking. The heat required to create these effects was over 2,000 degrees Celsius hotter than any ancient fire, hotter than a volcano. The pressure was off the charts. Only one kind of event could explain it: a cosmic airburst. Imagine a meteoroid, perhaps the size of a bus, hurtling through the sky at unimaginable speed. Before it could strike the ground, it exploded in the air above the city. The shock wave flattened buildings in an instant. Superheated plasma raced outward, incinerating everything in its path. Sand turned to glass. Water vanished in a flash of steam. Flesh and bone were reduced to ash. The city was erased in a heartbeat. The parallels with the biblical account were chilling. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. The burning sulfur could have been the firestorm unleashed by the airburst. The cities weren't just burned, they were obliterated, turned to ashes. The land around them became barren, the soil altered by the unimaginable heat. The destruction wasn't limited to Tal el-Hammam. The same black layers stretched across more than 500 square kilometers, covering other settlements that vanished at the same moment. This was no local disaster. It was a regional catastrophe, the likes of which the world had rarely seen. For generations, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah had been told as a warning, a parable of judgment. But what if it was also a memoria record of a real event, passed down through the ages, shaped by the fears and beliefs of those who survived? A cosmic disaster interpreted as divine wrath. Today, the ruins of Tal el-Hammam stand as silent witnesses to that day. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah is no longer just a distant echo. It is a reminder of the power of the universe and of the fragile place humanity holds within it. And it leaves us with a haunting question. How many other ancient legends, dismissed as mere stories, might hold a grain of truth, waiting to be uncovered by those willing to listen to the whispers of the past? If you found this journey as fascinating as we did, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. There are countless mysteries still waiting to be unearthed, and together, we'll keep searching for the truth beneath the dust of ages.